Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Marsh casting another StarCraft 2 game. Welcome! Today we have a gold level PvP between LittleMaN, which is the little man I suppose, over here, and BoneCarlos, who is the man slash woman of random height on this side of a map, which is not put here because this is an old overlay. This is in fact an old replay, which means you get this dingy old interface and a number of other things standard as well, which I already fixed before starting this recording. And I'm still not dropping frames. That is a very good thing to see. This replay was submitted to Reddit's Castit. If you would like your games cast by a member of the community, put it there. And what the hell APM is this guy doing? I forgot the number for APM because I never look it up. M. Jeez. No, it's not this guy, it's the other guy. Ah, okay, that's fine. Anyway, we have two gases being taken by both players, and we've got the second gateway and cybernetic score being taken for LittleMaN, whereas BoneCarlos just goes for the one gate. So we may see just a little bit more aggression coming in from LittleMaN, at the cost of a slight delay in an additional probe, giving BoneCarlos an income lead ever so slightly. Other than that, there's probably nothing going on in the next minute or so of this game. So, well, I stand corrected. We have a Twilight Council being built for both players. BoneCarlos is first with his mothership core, and does get that second gateway as well, making sure to match his opponent in production of, well, you tend to go either Stalkers or Adepts. You don't mix it up. So I guess it will be Stalkers and Blink. It is Blink for BoneCarlos, and it is a DT Shrine for LittleMaN. DT Shrine in base, so if his opponent were to be of the scouting persuasion, which he is not, well actually he might do with his mothership core, then that could be quite problematic. LittleMaN does do a little bit of scouting, but doesn't see anything as his probe does get shooed off by the Stalker. And if that Stalker is paying attention, he should know that a proxy pylon means what exactly? Oh, you want to go further into that. You want to go further into that. BoneCarlos with a mothership core, calling 1, killing 2, killing 3, but not scouting DT Shrine, which is what you really want to get out of this. Oh man, well, maybe not. Five kills? 5 kills is amazing. You're gonna get another one? No, his opponent. Oh, and that's not in range. Oh, his opponent's putting out a photon overcharge pylon, but it's not in range. He does not in fact have one in a better position, and he moves his probes back for BoneCarlos to continue pressuring with this mothership core. And there at last are 3 Stalkers which can face this off, and you want to get out of here. You may want to use that overcharge versus the DTs, which are certain to be coming your way. No, and so far he hasn't actually built any DTs. BoneCarlos, having taken care of this pylon, made sure that the warping potential for that DT is in fact no longer there, and 2 armies, well, 2 skirmishing forces do move next to each other. Oh, and there is a possibility of BoneCarlos to have seen it. But no, there's no evidence of that being the case. Oh, well, that should give him A heads up. So what did he pump down? Is it a Robo? Yep, there it is. It's the Robo. Is the Robo going to be in time? Well, that is an excellent question, because there are 2 adapts in your base, which you can deal with. Oh. And he's probably going to move these out to make sure. Keeps his stalkers in his opponent's base to kill as much of the economy as he can. And there comes the DT. So we had 41 probes for BoneCarlos. And how much is LittleMaN going to get with his DT? DT, does he see the Robo? He has seen it, but has he seen what it is? And you may want to decide to kill that before something comes out that can kill you. I do believe both of these pylons power this. Oh, this is... Are you going to get this? Are you going to get this? I don't think you're going to get this. That observer is going to go out, and there's nothing here to kill him. Yep. Well, there's a mothership core who can afford and overcharge this if he so chooses. There we go. Start hitting it at least. Oh. You may want to move your stalkers in here as well. And with that overcharge, yes, he does in fact take care of that DT. So we have 14 killed for BoneCarlos with a combination of mothership harassment and a bunch of stalkers, whereas 1 DT for the LittleMaN did almost equal damage. LittleMaN has expanded over here, which may be considered a fairly rational thought, whereas BoneCarlos was, well, a little bit more creative. "17 harvesters each," as BoneCarlos is in fact not building any SCVs, whereas his opponent LittleMaN is, and this slows down just a little bit. LittleMaN moves his adept back. Has he seen? No, hasn't seen that pylon. Checks to see whether these rocks are still there, or debris I suppose you could call it. And LittleMaN's expansion is up, as is BoneCarlos's. However, neither of them are using it to, say, build probes. There BoneCarlos actually goes. That is very possible. That is going to be very interesting, that expansion. May want to try and take this expansion as well, just in case this is going to be mined out, as it will in a minute or two. And a slow warp in of a zealot, a sentry, and a stalker halfway on the field, as he does divert his 1 observer. He may want to build a second one, to be perfectly honest. Yep, there he goes. No, actually that's LittleMaN. Well, you don't need one, your opponent's not DT rushing you. As BoneCarlos once again moves in with the aggression. And just to remind ourselves, BoneCarlos has both charge and blink, so when it comes to offensive maneuvering, BoneCarlos has the better cards. Also has the observer just in case his opponent has a DT, which last time I checked he still did. Yes, he does. And loses 1 adept for pretty much free. Moves in, takes care of the DT. No, does not take care of the DT. Oh, you don't want to lose that observer. If his opponent is smart, he will take that out. No, he does not. Leaving him with the viability of counteracting that DT. LittleMaN moves in and overcharges once more to drive his opponent away. BoneCarlos getting 1 kill, but other than that, just a lot of shield damage, which does regenerate on its own, I'm afraid. And there he goes again, using his blink. Oh, and his opponent sees that the observer is still there. BoneCarlos using his, no, not his blink, but to peel back the stalkers with the shield damage, or in this case not, and he does in fact lose 2 stalkers. This is Gold League, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot expect flawless micro from these players, as BoneCarlos does in fact move down to take an expansion, whereas in the meantime this is mining away completely unscouted, because why on earth would it be scouted? Ooh, dude, you have 8 probes not doing anything, you have 4 probes not doing anything. You may want to, yeah, there you go. LittleMaN, having put up 2 pylons for a photon overcharge reasons, of which he has enough energy to do once. As he gets an Archon with the DTs, considering his opponent still has an Observer. If he had been a little bit quicker on the draw, he did actually attack that for a little while. He could have taken that out and those DTs would have ruled supreme. Oh right, this is, yep, they changed this map to remove, in fact, this bit and this bit, because it was a bit unfair. It was a little bit too short of a rush distance. BoneCarlos poking in to see if he can do some damage, saying like, nope, nope, no I can't, and moves out. As LittleMaN sets up, is set up in a very nice defensive position. But in the meantime, BoneCarlos has, well, let's call it 2.5 base mining or something like that. Not with a great deal more probes than his opponent, in fact less. But his opponent has 1.5, so there is still just a little bit of advantage, at least in the mineral count, for Perseverance. As BoneCarlos moves in with a Warp Prism, pull his opponent's army out of position, and he moves into the natural. Does he kill anything? No, he does not, but he does allow these zealots to kill and come in and kill quite a bit. There are DTs which can just kill this to their heart's content, because there is no observer there. But this puts the save to stalkers. Put the income lead quite definitely in the favor of BoneCarlos, now with 44 workers versus 22, and in fact 1 fully mining base and another fully mining base, even possibly with gas being taken as soon as he devotes some probes to that. That Archon though can still make quite a bit of play, and oh, did he lose the observer? No, it's still there. Whatever zealot charge out there for glory, his glory was short-lived. We salute you. This is a tricky situation for LittleMaN. What can you really do? Well, we can try getting a Warp Prism of his own. He's not choosing to do so. Getting Immortals instead. Oh, and these charge zealots just absolutely shrekking that army trapped behind force fields. That was not a pretty sight. How are we doing on upgrades? Well, we've got a shield upgrade for BoneCarlos, which is unusual, but at least it is an upgrade. Where his opponent is still doing nothing. And BoneCarlos decides to take a normal 3rd base, while his actual natural is still mining away. Securing more income if he so chooses. And BoneCarlos moves in just as his opponent moves up the ramp. Oh, halving that army, or halving the effectiveness of that army as he takes care of that. Forces LittleMaN to move out. Now, LittleMaN still does have enough. How much does that cost? 30 energy. Well, still has enough to overcharge these 2 pylons if he so chooses. But to be perfectly honest, there's no reason for BoneCarlos to move out. He doesn't know this yet. He's about to check. There you go. Your opponent hasn't taken a 3rd. And you should now see if his opponent has done anything similar as he did, taking his stealth or ninja or whatever you want to call it 3rd. But LittleMaN has not. So LittleMaN, as BoneCarlos is slowly starting to realize, is still on those 2 bases. And those 2 bases have a finite amount of resources. And those resources are running out. That means that pretty soon, by just the amount of minerals you can mine, you should still be able to build an army, whereas your opponent should not. That is not to be said that if you keep your army here, whereas your opponent is here, you could still be in quite a bit of trouble. Yeah. These zealots come back and say, no sir, our opponent does in fact not have an expansion. They go like, oh, okay. Well, we'll just stay here then. Stay here and bottle them up with no vision of this thing, so they could possibly, you know, move out and sneak around and stab us in our backs while we sit here on their doorstep. And there we go. What does BoneCarlos do? BoneCarlos decides to move in for a base trade. Well, he does have 5 bases, whereas his opponent has 2, so that's not the worst decision he could have made. Now BoneCarlos is supply blocked, but pretty soon LittleMaN will be as well, so he cannot warp in anything at his home base to defend, as this will be taken out. But at the other side, BoneCarlos is doing the exact same thing to the LittleMaN, and even if LittleMaN has a far superior base trade technique and he takes out these 3 bases of which he knows, there's another base here, there's another base here, and this is looking very good for BoneCarlos. Nope. No, it does seem that BoneCarlos managed to lose his observer at some point, which means that the DDTs that LittleMaN has in place may just save his base. But what good is this base going to do him? There's no minerals. Yeah, there you go. BoneCarlos moving his observer there, hopefully to something that is an army when it gets here, because that army of BoneCarlos is starting to shrink quite rapidly. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is, and there go the DTs. In the meantime, BoneCarlos' base is almost entirely gone. His natural is entirely gone. And there are no more buildings on the map outside of what fits in this frame. Yep, no. Yep, BoneCarlos or LittleMaN just finds this base, doesn't even know of this base actually. So that may be why he's still in this base, thinks he's in a lot better position than he in fact is. As BoneCarlos slowly murders his base, and he goes like, well, what shall I do? Oh, I must kill this, and, you know, I must kill this. But if I do that before my opponent kills me, I shall be entirely safe. I shall be victorious, in fact. LittleMaN also takes his ninja expansion a little bit, just a little bit later than his opponent. And with this, he may expect a message similar to that which appeared for him just a little while ago. You have killed your opponent's base and you are being revealed. And the fact that this is not the case should worry him. And there goes what LittleMaN is. No. LittleMaN knew this was here, so now he can go hunting. Where's... Oh. Oh. Well, that's a nice distraction. He's going to pull his army all the way over there. Oh, LittleMaN does in fact find this base as well. And his BoneCarlos is going to go back to defend. He does not have the army advantage, and with those DTs, I wouldn't do that either. Those can be quite sneaky if your observer is lagging behind, as in fact it is. But LittleMaN's army is split up in 2, so the entire army of BoneCarlos can take and will take if they meet in the night. They do meet in the night. Oh, and BoneCarlos' army similarly does actually split up. Ooh, LittleMaN moving in from this side might engage in a sandwich, or will in fact move back into a single army. And now the army supply is very similar. There we go to DT, because the observer is still there, and with the blink BoneCarlos should be able to run rings around this army and maybe slowly pick it off. These two Immortals, on the other hand, oh, that is tricky. Oh, there is a lot of money in the bank for BoneCarlos. If he had been doing his macro just a little bit better, he would have been warping in by now. Although building additional pylons might be nice as well. BoneCarlos is still having no idea where his opponent is, although by now there are but 3 possibilities left. Oh, and there is that mothership core. That mothership core evening out the damage, possibly. But instead he's going to fight in this tiny choke, which gives him no advantage whatsoever as this photon overcharge slowly whittles down LittleMan's army. And yes, there are 2 Immortals, but against even photon overcharge, there's not much you want to do. You do so much damage. 4 pylons, 4 simple supply givers. That is a lot of damage output. And is his barrier up? No, his barrier is not up. BoneCarlos going instead for the surrounding zealots. And there goes the last army of LittleMaN. And with that, LittleMaN taps out. GG.